Hi, welcome to week 10 of teacher training. The next posture we're going to take a closer look at is Bakasana. And Bakasana it's not part of the primary series. I think it might be in the intermediate series, but we're going to look at it here because we do it a lot in class. It's a fun pose. And so let's look at it together. So I think of Bakasana as a fancy chaturanga. It's like a chaturanga with no legs. It's got the same upper body alignment. We want to parallel the wrists with the shoulders. We want to stack the, joint stack shoulders in line with the elbows, and use a lot of core here. So we'll start by bringing the hands down to the mat, and you want your center fingers facing out from the middle of your wrists, and we're going to bring the knees up onto the back of the arms. So if you can't get your knees up above your elbows, crow pose is going to be impossible. So let's talk about mobility. So when we're doing arm balances, it's not just about strength and alignment, but also about mobility. If your lower back is tight, if there's something going on in your shoulders, if there's some restriction around your shoulders, your back, or something like that, it's going to be harder to get into crow pose. So when you move towards crow pose, remember you want to try to get your knees above your elbows. The higher you can get your knees above your elbows, the better off you'll be. It'll give you a little bit of slip room, but it also, your core will have to engage a little bit more. It'll help you hold the posture. So I'll turn to the side. Actually, before I do, I'm going to come up. When you think about crow pose, think about your abdominal wall. We want to create activation here through the abdominal wall. So when you're coming into crow pose, you want to give yourself a little crunch in your core through your rectus abdominal muscles. Lengthen your tailbone. And then you're going to hold this. You're going to hold that crunch. Bring your hands down. Try to get your elbows up towards the armpit. And again, the center fingers are facing forward from the wrists. You're going to try to bring the elbows over the wrist. Look forward. Remember, in chaturanga, you don't want your chin dropping down. You want your chin up. So we're going to look a little bit forward and then see if you can get your heels up. You want to push through your hands and straighten through your arms. And I'm going to do that from the side. So again, we're going to bring the hands down, open the hands up shoulder width distance. And if your hands are really far away from your feet, it's going to be, that's another thing. If you're moving into crow pose like that, it's going to be hard. You got to get your hands in underneath your shoulders. Hands underneath your shoulders, because I see a lot of people approach crow pose with the hands more forward, but we want the hands underneath the shoulders. Do you see that? Hands forward and the knees up. It just creates more work. But if your hands are underneath your shoulders, less work, because you're stacking. Your elbows are over your wrists, and remember, we're going to look forward, because if you look down, you're going to be top heavy. So look slightly forward, and it also creates a little more work through your shoulders. Okay, and then you're going to see if you can get your heels up, push through your hands, look slightly forward. So in this posture, think of that again. You want to get that big squeeze. If you've ever been on the double crunch machine at the gym, where you're pulling down, you're seated in that chair, and your knees are coming in towards your elbows, and your elbows are coming into your knees. Now, the back is rounding here, right? There is some rounding in the back, but your navel is lifting in towards your spine, and your tailbone is lengthening down. And there's even, when you come into crow pose, there's even some inner thigh activation. So we're hugging in, rooting in to lift, and then eventually expanding out. So think about that. Yeah, come back into a squat. You can try it with me. Bring yourself into a squat, and you want to get your hands underneath your shoulders. Walk your wrists underneath your shoulders and then lift your hips up and bring your knees up onto the back of the arms. Now, here's another thing. I'm going to turn to the front. I also see people bring their knees outside the arms and try to come into crow pose like that. That is really hard. Don't do I mean, you can do that, but it's just a lot more work. If you bring your knees onto the back of the arms, it'll be easier to hold the posture. All right, so you want to get a little toe squat. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Remember, not out, but underneath your shoulders. Spread the fingers. Bring your knees up above your elbows. Spread your shoulder blades at your back. Pull your core in at your front. Look slightly forward. Lift your chin off your chest. And see, even if it's just 1 foot at a time, until you can get both heels up. All right, and that